Greetings, it's your girl Chris Ball coming at you again with another video. Today, the topic of conversation is basically going to be what I'm about. After these last few videos that I've posted, I've gotten a few questions along the lines of, what do you practice? What do you believe? Are you Buddhist? Are you Ifa? Are you Christian? Like, where do you lie? So I thought this would be a great time, since I just started this channel, to kind of debunk any rumors and kind of just solidify what exactly it is that I believe in, and where my loyalties lie. Okay.
Even though in this moment I'm not necessarily seeking to channel any messages or gain clarification on anything that was presented to me, I still always take time to ask for guidance and clarity whenever I speak.
Right. So let's get down to business. So on a basic, very like general level, I believe in God. I believe that God is the creator of everything and everybody, every living thing on this planet. I believe God created hell. God created the living, so the living things on this planet created the non-living things. So hell, God created that too. So that's just like my basic belief, and I also believe that God is in all of us. Like, God created us, so we were created in His image. Because what else? Like, what else would He be creating us from? Like, you know what I'm saying? We are how He wanted us to be. So yeah, so that's just like my basic belief. It's just God, point blank, period. People call God the universe. Some people call God of different deities from whatever religions they're practicing. But in my eyes, it's still all God. I don't think there is any difference, because the research that I have done on different religions, before and during my journey, and just trying to like find my way and find my path and kind of find out what I feel the truth is for me, I started to realize that everybody is saying the same thing, just in a different tone. So basically, that's kind of where I coined the phrase, the universal truth. I don't think there's one religious practice that I gravitate towards more than the other. I mean, that could be debatable, but I just like to say I believe in the universal truth. And for me, the universal truth is that there's one God. And, you know, before I like make these videos, sometimes I like to do some research to make sure I'm not just making shit up. You know what I'm saying? Because although these are my personal beliefs, I still want to make sure I'm giving information that is, for the most part, pretty accurate to what other people believe, as well, or somebody else believes. Anyways, that's also debatable. But when I looked up the universal truth, it brought up the philosophy of universality, which basically means that everything is like universal. Like, all aspects of everything is universal. Kind of like if you think about a universal remote, like that one remote goes for like any TV, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I feel about God. Like, there is one God, and it's just displayed across many different types of religions and many different types of practices. But then when I was looking it up, I also learned the word relativism, which is basically supposed to be the opposite of universality, and which would be the opposite of universal truth. And basically, relativism says that, I made notes, but I'm trying not to look because I don't feel like leaning. It says that it's all up to people's perspective, right? So relativism is, it's all up to the person's perspective in the world that they've lived. That's what shaped what they believe as true, okay? And so when I thought about that, I was like, okay, I see that, but in my mind, I'm also thinking it's kind of the same thing for me. If I'm thinking of it from a religious and spiritual background, it's all the same thing. Because if I say that the universal truth is that there is one God, and if you say, because of whatever culture you were raised in and whatever background you have, whatever circumstances have presented themselves to you in your life, you gravitate towards this one religion, that I guess could be considered relative. But at the end of the day, although you are gravitating towards this particular religion, this particular practice, at the end of the day, you are still worshiping God. You know, like, you're still worshiping a God. You're still worshiping God. There is only one, no matter what face you decide you want to put on it. It's only one God. So, you know, that's where I kind of lie. I hope you guys understood that. And so, to take it a little bit further, a lot of times I get the question, you know, do you believe in Jesus? And I believe that I've mentioned something about that in my previous video, but I'm going to go ahead and put it here because it definitely goes along with what I'm saying. So, like, the belief in Jesus, the belief that Jesus died on the cross for your sins is literally a Christian belief. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe in Jesus, because I do believe in Jesus, but I believe that he was just the first, like, Americanized enlightened being. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the image that that is given to us of, like, an American enlightened being. Because if you look at him, although he was whatever he was, whatever race he might have been, he still was technically on the American religion side. You know what I'm saying? It just shows you what an enlightened being, you know, looks like, what an enlightened being embodies. And that's what I think he was. I just think he was just a regular person like you and me, just enlightened and truly living and following God. You know what I'm saying? And when you think about other religions, especially like Hinduism and these religions that seem to have multiple gods, it's not that they're worshiping multiple gods. There's still one Godhead at the top, but, you know, as it is, there is God in all of us. Like, we are all gods in our own right. So those gods are also just enlightened beings that, you know, they're also just enlightened beings. It's a little bit more tricky when you think about those religions, and maybe I'll go back and do some more research and come back with some accurate facts so that I can come across a little bit more factual when it comes to those things, because I don't want to, like, botch people's religious beliefs. But the point of this is to say that there is only one God, and everything else and every other entity and every other thing, they're just followers and walkers of that God. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just basically it. Like, you're never going to see me, you know, bashing any one particular religion. Maybe I will bash a little bit, because I don't like it when religions try to make it seem like it's the only way, like their way is the only way, because that's not true. That's not true. That is not true, because everything doesn't resonate with everybody, and you can't tell somebody that because they don't follow and believe the way that you're telling them to, that they're just wrong. So I just believe religion, spirituality, the practice of worshiping God is a little bit more fluid than people like to explain, because honestly, if it came out that worshiping God and finding God and living your truth and standing for a higher power was just as easy as letting go and choosing to surrender, if that was a thing that was, like, taught more, there would be no churches, there would be no there wouldn't be multiple places of worship. You know, we would all kind of come together and just worship together in a space of love, in a space of God is with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people having their different practices. That's perfectly fine. But I think that, like they say, you know, we work better together in numbers. And, you know, there's a lot of division in the world right now. And I feel like sometimes the best way to come together is to come together with love. And I feel like in some of these religions, if we had people that, you know, had, you know, the thought, or had the understanding, I would say, honestly, I'm going to say the understanding to step away and step up and actually see what actually is, it would help make the world a much better place. And while I'm on the topic, you know, if you follow my Instagram, if you've watched my videos, you know I speak a lot about surrendering. You know, I speak a lot about surrendering to the flow and allowing yourself to be led. When I say that, I'm speaking of surrendering yourself to God. Surrendering yourself to God in a way that you give your life to Him, you give your life to it, you give your life to her, you give your life to whoever, whatever you consider to be God, and you allow yourself to be led, you allow yourself to be pushed in whatever direction it is that you're supposed to be pushed into. the deeper I get into this life, the deeper I get into my beliefs, the deeper I get into my practices, the further away I get from one particular thing. Like, I no longer only look at astrology. I no longer only worship the sun, or I no longer only look up to the moon. You know, I look at it all as God's creations, and I look at it all as God. So these days I find myself just talking to God. Like, I don't really need any of that other stuff anymore, honestly, because I'm just gonna go straight to this. I mean, I don't really, it depends. I don't really call out or, you know, do certain practices towards certain things as I used to do, so like diligently. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, if I don't do these things, like, this isn't gonna happen. If I don't do these things, this isn't gonna happen. I don't really feel that anymore, because I know that all I have is God, and I do what works for me in that moment. So if I wake up on a Tuesday and I feel like going outside, do some yoga and doing some sun worshiping, because that's what I feel like that is, and doing some sun worshiping in the sun and really exalting in that manner, then I'm gonna do that. Now then, if it's like the 8th, I think the full moon this month is on the 8th. The 8th, when it comes up, if I feel like coming outside on this patio and seeing the moon and sitting up under it, and I definitely will probably put my crystals out, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just my comfort. That's just what I like to do. But you know, also, if I wake up in the morning and, you know, as I'm doing my stretches, if I find myself in prayer position, I'm sitting there praying. So, you know, it's all about relativism. You know, that's relativism for me. You know, it's what I do and what resonates with me and what keeps my soul on fire. But at the end of the day, I still know that there's only one God, and that's just point blank, period. So that's pretty much what I believe. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I don't really check my YouTube comments yet because I don't really have that many. But you can find me on Instagram at Chris Ball. And I'm still learning, I'm still growing. So yeah, just follow me and see where this light is taking me. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.